that you said it's you and Joshua here. Is this fight done? What are we talking about?
You know, it's going to happen. Like, seriously, it's going to happen. We were talking with Turkey tonight, negotiations live in person.
Former world champion, he's now being talked about as an opponent for Anthony Joshua. Can that fight happen?
I think the fight can absolutely happen. I've been looking at it as Jake versus Joshua, which is quite biblical and it's quite impactful in many ways.
Reports confirm that a blockbuster fight between Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua is being planned for January 2026. Negotiations are underway, with Jake Paul's manager Nakisa Madarian confirming early talks with Joshua's team and promoter Eddie Hearn. Saudi boxing figure Turki Alishik is reportedly backing the event. Potential venues being considered include Wembley Stadium, various locations in the United States and the Middle East.
In terms of those active discussions, how far have things progressed? Is it something that you can see happening next for Jake and for AJ?
I think we're looking at it happening in Q1 of 2026 is kind of the current discussion. I think it's public that AJ was taking a little time away and get a little surgery. So once he's ready and once Jake is ready, we're going to squarely focus on that.
There are some concerns, aren't there, within the boxing world about Jake fighting someone as powerful as AJ. How much of a worry is that? We saw what he did to Ngannou.
So power is obviously the last thing to go. So obviously AJ has a ton of power and he's still fairly young.
Jake Paul, riding high after his victory over Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., has strongly hinted at a potential fight with Anthony Joshua, saying it's looking very likely for next year. The two have reportedly exchanged messages, with Joshua suggesting a late 2025 date, paving the way for a full-scale clash in early 2026. Paul's manager, Nakisa Madarian, backed the idea, confirming that serious discussions are underway for what he called a biblical showdown.
Now, I know you're after a world title, but if that doesn't materialize, I know the Tommy Fury name has been floated about. Is there any other fighters who may not be world champions that you're looking to face?
Yeah, I mean, Anthony Joshua.
I think that's the main one that, you know, we've talked a lot about is if it's not for the title, it's looking at Tommy, if he's reasonable, and then Anthony Joshua. And he's adamant that he wants to make that fight happen at the end of 2026.
Anything is possible. And so I like the challenge. People, that's the criticism. Fight someone in their prime, who's a beast. I think people just want to see me lose. That's really what the message is behind it all. And Anthony Joshua is an insane fight, but I want that challenge. We've been DMing back and forth. He wants to make it happen. He called me up, and it's looking very likely for next.
Jake Paul fueled his public challenge with serious momentum, declaring that a massive showdown with Anthony Joshua is his top priority after defeating Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. He directly called out Joshua on his podcast and reaffirmed his stance post-fight, boldly stating that Joshua is next as he aims to shake up the heavyweight scene.
I want to fight Anthony Joshua exclusive because I know that I will beat Anthony Joshua. I know I will beat. Knocked out, right? Yeah. He doesn't have a chin and he has no skill and he's stiff. And I love you, Anthony. We're friends. But I want to fight you. I will beat Canelo. I will beat a lot of people. I will not beat David Benavidez.
Jake Paul maintains that a potential showdown with Anthony Joshua would benefit the sport of boxing by injecting fresh energy, attracting new fans, and drawing massive global attention. Calling himself a breath of fresh air, Paul claimed that legends like Joshua, Tyson Fury, and Manny Pacquiao recognize the excitement he brings. He emphasized that boxing needs revitalization, and his mainstream popularity helps engage younger audiences who might not otherwise connect with traditional boxing.
You said it's you and Joshua here. Is this fight done? What are we talking about?
You know, it's going to happen. Like, seriously, it's going to happen. We were talking with Turkey tonight, negotiations live in person, which are always fun. But it's going to happen, and it's just such an exciting fight that crosses the whole globe. When you ask a lot of people about certain boxers, they don't know their names. And everywhere I've been going, I just talk about Anthony, and I don't have, I'm global. So it's just such a good fight for the sport of boxing, and people will think I will die, but I will show them why I can rise against all odds and beat him.
Everyone's been wanting to see happen. Who will be the king of the United Kingdom? And who will be the queen of the United... Too soon? I'm praying that boxing doesn't happen in this fight, and what I mean by that is politics. People trying to take more money than they deserve. Fuck the money, get in there, make fucking history. This is one of the biggest fights that could happen over this past decade. Make it fucking happen, Eddie Hearn. Make it fucking happen, Frank Warren. Make it happen, Tyson. Make it happen, Anthony Joshua. We don't need fucking excuses. Don't let boxing ruin this fight. Get in the fucking ring and fight like that.
Eddie Hearn has confirmed that serious negotiations are in progress for a potential Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua fight, targeted for early 2026. Joshua is expected to return in late 2025 following elbow surgery. Saudi boxing influencer Turki Alishik is reportedly back in the event, boosting its chance.
The discussions with AJ are as follows. We will be ready to fight November, December. We are planning life without Jake Paul. But if that is for real, of course, we take that fight in a heartbeat. I don't just think Jake's doing it just purely for publicity, but at the same time, will he actually do it? We'll find out soon, but we're up for it. But we can't just live in the world of waiting for Jake Paul. So we're going to fight December, maybe early January.
Hearn has issued a strong warning to Jake Paul, acknowledging the financial appeal but emphasizing that facing a top-tier heavyweight like Anthony Joshua is highly dangerous and should not be underestimated.
Jake Paul could last 3 rounds with Anthony Joshua. 3, 2, 1. You've seen he's called him out, presumably.
Yeah, in 2026. I mean, that's like me saying I'm going to go for the gold at the 2028 Olympics for surfing. It's clickbait, but he might just be mad enough to have a go. It's very dangerous, very dangerous. I mean, you saw a guy who has the same size as AJ and who has much more ability than Jake Paul, which is Francis Ngannou. And you saw what happened to him, and that was scary for a while. So, yeah, we can joke about it, but I don't recommend it, Mr. Paul.
I like Jake. He's a good promoter, very good promoter, and he's a funny guy. He's got a great sense of humour, got good people around him, the key, so they know their business. There's a massive weight disparity, and that's a tough thing to give away, especially with somebody who's got so much physical advantage over him, and he's a young guy. AJ, he's not an old guy, he's a young guy. Will it happen? Who knows? Anything happens sometimes in our sport. But I think that is a big ask of Jake beating him. Big ask.
Where are you on this nonsense?
Where am I? I can't see it happening. I can't. Although yes, lots of money, so on and so forth. I can't see it. I just can't. It just obviously as someone who's been a unified heavyweight world champion going in against Jake, well, it just doesn't. Yeah, and it's like I'm also talking from a health and safety factor. It's like he's maybe a cruiserweight.
Yeah.
I think Joshua's a very big, strong heavyweight, and if he turns it on, it's not just a risk of a knockout. It's a much bigger risk. So I can't see it. Personally, but it's good talking.
Eddie Hearn recognized the buzz created by Tyson Fury's comments, but made it clear that there's nothing evenly matched about a Joshua versus Paul fight. He noted that if it's truly 50-50, it only makes sense from a promotional angle.
With AJ and Frank Bruno up there, the past, the current of it. So you're in now, son. You're in the deep end, and he's a good kid and a great fighter. I'm sure people are going to love being part of the journey.
Yeah, I know you're in a bit of a rush here, so I'll move on to Tyson Fury. Are you shocked that Tyson Fury announced he's going to come back to the ring? And did you expect him to want Usyk rather than AJ?
I think that he's always going to want to avenge a defeat. I mean, look, he feels that he won both of those fights. You know, I thought they were very close. Don't think he won them, but you know, maybe he does fight Usyk again. We can't control what Fury does. I gave up trying to do that years ago. You've seen from the response online, no one's really interested in Fury against Usyk 3, and everyone wants the AJ fight. But the minute I come out and start saying this and saying that, it probably rolls us back. So what I'm going to say is, good luck, Tyson Fury. Do whatever you want to do. Hopefully it involves giving the public the biggest fight the country's ever had.
Jake Paul, Anthony Joshua, 50-50 fight. What do you make of that?
Yeah, I just said in another interview, great if it is. I mean, if it is, then you've got no problem seeing it. But when AJ, I mean, decapitate's a strong word, but you know, when he renders Jake Paul unconscious like he did to Francis Ngannou, don't then say, oh well, it was Jake Paul. Do you know what I mean? I mean, when AJ beat Francis Ngannou, Ngannou just had a fight that could have gone either way with Tyson Fury. Then AJ poleaxed him, and everyone just said he's just an MMA fighter. Do you know what I mean? Jake Paul's not Francis Ngannou. But as I said before, if you want to see Jake Paul exit the boxing world, make the fight.
Last one, what next for Dave Allen?
Well, Dave Allen's been an incredible project the last couple of months. I mean, look, we've been talking to Deontay Wilder, we've been talking to Joseph Park.
Former WBC cruiserweight champ Tony Bellew called the fight dangerously insane, citing major safety concerns over Paul's size disadvantage.
It's a possibility to happen.
Yeah, it's a possibility that it's a possibility an alien might just land on the fucking grass now. It's a possibility.
Listen, I'm not saying the outcome of the fight, but there's a possibility that this fight could happen, isn't there?
Said the word fight in the same sentence that Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua. This is a guy who was on the Disney Channel, made his name big from the Disney Channel, and I haven't really slated this guy because I think he's doing some of the things he's doing for boxing is brilliant. His job he's doing with the women is fantastic. I went into a gym the week before he fights Tommy Fury, and there was 200 kids in the gym on a Tuesday night. Kids, he's a big part of that. Give him all the credit in the world. But in the same sentence, he's fought one live boxer in his career, and he lost. What would you say if I put Tommy Fury in with Anthony Joshua?
Promoter Nakisa Darian has directly addressed concerns about the size difference between Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua, stating, size-wise, we can get comfortable with it. Paul reportedly walks around at 210 to 215 pounds, while Joshua typically weighs closer to 252. Darian believes Paul's physical strength, growing experience at heavyweight, especially after facing Mike Tyson, and his rapid development in the ring make the fight feasible. However, across the boxing world, many professionals, including fighters, trainers, and promoters, remain skeptical. While some acknowledge the commercial appeal of the matchup, most question its credibility, legitimacy, and safety. For them, it's more of a spectacle than a serious competitive fight.
Don't put it past Jake Paul. Anthony Joshua, as much as he's a monster, he's got a weak mind, and so Jake could end up getting into it because Jake's got everyone eating out the palm of his hand. He's a very clever man. So
You really think he's got a chance?
why wouldn't he have a chance? Look how confident he is. I mean, come on. Like, Anthony would have all the pressure in the world, and if Anthony didn't do him with the first few punches, he'd start doubting himself in his head, because that's what he does. But no, Anthony should win, shouldn't he?
What do you make of Tyson Fury saying that he's going to put $1 million bet on Jake winning by
Tell
knockout?
Tyson to leg it, lad. He's retired about 50 times. What's he on about, mate? Just tell him to leg it. I don't love him. If he walked in here, I'd obviously...
At one point you were good friends.
We were good friends, but obviously if he walked in here, I'd act like I'm not talking about him, but then on the camera I'm talking to him. Is this not what we're on? Is everyone not fake? Or no, we all... What are we on here? Are we all acting like we don't hate each other? Like, come on. Like what?
You're on absolute smoke today.
Shut your mouth, Tyson. Shut your trap.
John Fury, father of Tyson Fury, stirred controversy with a bold prediction about the potential Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua fight. In a candid interview, he claimed Joshua would easily knock out Paul and suggested that if the result were any different, the fight must be fixed. His strong words reflected unwavering belief in Joshua's power and experience. However, Tyson Fury took an opposite stance. The former heavyweight champion declared he would bet £1 million on Jake Paul to knock out Joshua, calling the fight a genuine 50-50 contest. Tyson's surprising take has ignited debate across the boxing world, with many questioning the credibility of such a prediction. In response, Jake Paul doubled down on his confidence, saying he would gladly accept the bet and even raise the stakes, offering £10 million on himself to win. The back and forth has added even more intrigue to an already sensational and polarizing potential matchup.
There's been some talk about possibly Joshua using Jake Paul as a tune-up to fight you. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know about tune-up. I think Jake Paul knocks him out.
Seriously?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why so? What impresses you about Jake Paul?
I just think Jake Paul would knock AJ out. I think AJ's a spam force, and I think Jake Paul's on the rise. And I like his new heavyweight look. Bit chubby, bit bulky. Getting there. You want to protect it. And he just done a great job over the aging Chavez Jr., who was a middleweight, but still.
Sure.
Yeah. I like how Jake Paul calls out the full spectrum from featherweight to heavyweight. Do you know what I mean? Who did he call out? Tank Williams and Joshua. That's just crazy. That's what you call Richter scale call-outs.
Richter scale, I like that.
Simon Jordan firmly rejected the idea of Anthony Joshua facing Jake Paul, arguing it undermines Joshua's status as a legitimate world champion. Despite recent setbacks, Jordan believes Joshua's legacy should not be tied to a crossover spectacle. He warned that such a fight would offer little value to boxing and questioned whether fans or broadcasters would take a matchup between a proven heavyweight and a part-time influencer seriously.
As a boxing purist, it doesn't sit well, but as a normal working class lad, I've been asked by builders, would you fight Jake Paul for £5 million? I've never got £5 million for fighting anyone else in a fight, so it's the silliest question in the world. I've been retired 7 years, I'm still very confident. If you give me 3 weeks to get off the couch, I'll probably still beat him with one hand. He's not a good fighter, so it's not even being disrespectful to him. As a YouTuber, as a presenter in what he does, he blows me out the water. That's his line of work. But he's stepping into boxing, another profession. Now, to call Alexa Canelo out, I think is disrespectful. To call Anthony Joshua out is lunacy, but we know why it's happening and why he does it.
Forget Jake Paul.
Forget
Jake Paul.
Tickets.
I mean, Jake Paul's going to do what Jake Paul does, but Anthony Joshua, with respect to you and what you did and didn't earn in your career, Anthony Joshua is out at King's Ransom.
Yeah.
So he doesn't need to be fiddle with this, does he?
No, he doesn't. But again, all I keep seeing from people out there is, when is enough enough? And I get that. But when you're retired at 33, 34, and you've got to make that last now, and you've got more experience than me in this team, and a lot of footballers in the past as well, and business people who have to make a certain amount of budget last. It's the easiest money you'll probably have.
On his podcast, The Joe Rogan Experience, Joe Rogan shared skepticism about Jake Paul's timeline for fighting Anthony Joshua. He questioned why Paul would delay the bout until 2026, joking, "Jake wants to fight Joshua now? No, he wants to wait until 2026. Rogan sarcastically suggested Paul might be planning to bulk up, possibly even with steroids, instead of focusing on improving his actual boxing skills.
Talking right now about doing Anthony Joshua, Jake Paul.
I know, I saw that.
Jake Paul apparently wants that fight.
Yeah, that fight's not competitive at all.
Well, it's a dangerous fight.
Yeah.
Because Joshua's going to try to make an example out of him, for sure.
And will.
I mean, Anthony Joshua's one of the biggest one-punch KO artists. What he did to Francis Ngannou, good lord.
Yes.
Do you want that smoke?
Yes.
I mean, he's a one-punch, night-night guy.
Amid growing buzz around Jake Paul, veteran heavyweight Derek Chisora has harshly criticized the idea of Paul receiving a WBC ranking, calling it a disgrace to boxing. Chisora argued that true fighters dedicate years to earning their rankings through legitimate competition, while Paul appears to be climbing based on fame rather than merit. He accused WBC President Mauricio Suleiman of sacrificing the organization's credibility for financial gain, insisting such moves are unfair and damage the integrity of the sport.
The WBC have said they're going to give a cruiserweight ranking to the winner of this fight. Do you think they deserve one?
I don't think so. I don't know why. It's hard enough for real athletes, for real boxers to get in those rankings, and then suddenly this Solomon Sousa decides to give double ranking because he's getting some greens in his, in his back pocket. No, he's disgrace to boxing.
Former world champion George Groves has firmly dismissed the idea of Anthony Joshua facing Jake Paul, arguing the fight holds no sporting merit. According to Groves, Joshua deserves meaningful bouts against legitimate contenders, not crossover spectacles lacking competitive value. He labeled the potential matchup as low risk, low legacy, and suggested Joshua should either retire or hold out for a mega fight with Tyson Fury, one he believes truly matters for Joshua's legacy. The reaction from fans has echoed this sentiment, with widespread mockery and disbelief. Many have ridiculed the idea as a comedy event, calling it a desperate attempt at relevance. Some fans even describe Jake Paul as a cancer to boxing, warning that such a fight would tarnish Joshua's career achievements. Comments across social media reflect a strong feeling that Joshua's legacy should be built on elite-level contests, not promotional stunts. Overall, the response highlights deep skepticism about the credibility and seriousness of this proposed bout.
Probably the state of heavyweight boxing. They have to bring Jake Paul into the ring to face off one of the greatest heavyweights of all time. He's already scheduled to face Anthony Joshua, which would be a major step up. Tyson Fury said, I genuinely think Jake Paul knocks out Anthony Joshua, which is actually crazy. But what did John Fury say?
Anthony Joshua could knock Jake Paul.
If you saw what Anthony Joshua did to Francis Ngannou, who's not a boxer, absolutely flatlined him, right? You think a Canelo versus Crawford will do numbers? Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua would break numbers. It'll probably be on Netflix. You'll see. Is Jake Paul a real boxer? Can he compete in heavyweight against Anthony Joshua? The world of boxing is crazy right now. To go from Nate Robinson, 5'7" guard that played in the NBA, to Anthony Joshua, you would never have picked that ever.
Jake Paul, you've lost your mind if you think you can go toe-to-toe with Anthony Joshua. Listen, let's not get confused, guys. Let's not get confused. Yes, cool. Anthony took a big L with Daniel Dubois. But Daniel Dubois is not no joke, bro. It's not a joke. You know what I'm trying to say? He took an L. Yeah, but Jake Paul, I got the utmost respect for what he's done, how he's managed to navigate through the boxing world. Like, bro, it's so mad. And I can see this is like a 90%. This happening, this positioning, this marketing already. Like, why would you see Jake Paul go face to face with Alexander Usyk if it's not to position for a fight for Saudi? Obviously, Jake Paul's gonna fight Anthony Joshua. There's possibly gonna be a Usyk against Tyson Fury 3, because obviously the last two were so close. But you never know. It can also be a Usyk against Derek Chisora. You know what I mean? You never know.
Do you think Jake Paul truly deserves a WBC ranking, or is it damaging boxing's legacy? Would facing Paul boost or hurt Anthony Joshua's reputation? Drop your opinions in the comments below.